This is IBRX. I designed Godel so you don't have to use your mouse either. So the same process with a drug company as with a semiconductor company. Still have to know what the stock price is, still have to know how many shares are there, still have to know how much cash and debt. It's all still the same. If you want to learn and do it yourself, you can watch the video again. There's a lot of ways to do that. And these are high-paying jobs. They're still fundamental analysts on Wall Street. It's still a high-paying job to know how to do financial analysis. And it applies in venture capital, private equity. It applies on the research side. I mean, there's no shortage of jobs you can get with this skill set. So let's look at the 10Q. All right, so this is a 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗀𝗡 company, right? Complicated cap structure here. Not many biotech companies have debt and related parties and all this stuff. No revenue, not uncommon in biotech. You can see $40,000 of revenue. I think you should spend hundreds of hours researching before you buy stock. Well, that's why it's a tough thing, because it sort of has to be a team sport. There are too many stocks and it's a lot of work. All right, Immunitybio. I like how they say they're vertically integrated. 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗞. So this is bladder cancer. NMIBC is bladder cancer. BCG is therapy often given for bladder cancer. So you got to know the lingo. I spent a long time in pharma, so I know the lingo. I almost bought BCG, and guess what I was going to do when I bought BCG? Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. I was going to raise the price. Oh yeah.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
It was a really cheap drug. It still is a really cheap drug for bladder cancer. It's like the key drug for bladder cancer. It costs like $2,000. The other cancer drugs are like $100,000. Doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So let's hike it up. You want more revenue, right? Patients are already paying an arm and a leg for these other drugs. Who are they going to say no? No, I don't want my cancer patients to get this drug. Man, the insurance not even going to notice. They're too busy worried about diabetes drugs, about whether or not they're going to approve Ozempic. This company's something. I guess it probably has most of its juice from 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 about whether or not the assets are any good. Plenty of billionaires lose their money. It happens all the time. Of course I know lexicon. Come on. Who do you think I am? You're talking to the farmer bro here. There's not many drug companies I don't know about. Okay, so they're really banking on Antiva to become a good oncology drug. But and then I have this. They have a couple of HIV attempts, including with Antiva. Yeah, I don't think this doesn't look good. This could be a good short. Hold up. What's this? AZD5582. Was that their drug? This guy made a lot of money. Looks like he's losing it all though. There he is right there. He's the real farmer bro.
I've been doing this more than you. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers.
That's how I feel when somebody tells me how to invest. Okay, so they commingle press releases and other things here. I just want press releases. Yeah, dude, this looks like a short, man. I hate to say it. You got to take this drug through your urethra. Not great, right? Not fun, not fun. Bladder cancer isn't fun. You got to just go right up in there. How else are you going to get to the bladder? Oh yeah, we got some cool features here on 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗢𝗀. For example, this is tick data. Time and sales for every stock in NASDAQ. Are you telling me there's a Doge on NASDAQ? Sick. But we're improving 𝗥𝗘𝗢 every day, so make sure you subscribe to support me, 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗀.com. Okay, so what is this? 77 evaluable patients. 8 progressed. What? Okay, so the main study was called QUILT. Drug has a long name. It's a little complicated molecule there. Non-muscle invasive bladder cancer, NMIBC. My HNICs. 62% complete response. Pretty good. Not bad. All right. And I revised my prior statements. I wouldn't own more than 10% of any stock in my portfolio, but that's just me. The problem is, as an entrepreneur, it tends to not really work that way. But if you want to diversify portfolio, that's pretty good advice, I think. All right, so 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝐢𝐴 is a good drug, actually, at least for bladder cancer. Bladder cancer is weird because you can bathe the bladder in poison, basically, because as long as you really, it's not going to go to the rest of the body. That's why the bladder kind of has this thick muscle that contains the rest of basically the urine. So you can really go ham in the bladder. So it's not systemically delivered. You can handle a lot. But let's look at, let's finish looking at 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢. So let's see, bladder cancer in the US, 16,000 deaths. So like basically all of these guys are eligible in essence for 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢. What's the price of 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢? Holy, 36,000 a dose. God, see? You see? Talking about 36,000. How many doses the average patient get? Probably 6 before they die. Some of them are going to continue getting it. I don't know. So this could be a big drug. When did it get approval? 422. So they wouldn't have had any revenue for Q1. Huh. This could be a long. Not too many hedgies in here either. I like to see that. The hedgies aren't always right. Hedge funds can almost be like a counter. I see Millennium got a little bit. Man, this thing could be a long. It's going to be very hard to make a generic. This is Immunitybio IBRX. I'm sorry, IBRX. Interesting. Really interesting stock. Thanks, Jay. We're going to have to look at this closely. All right, let's look at the next one on Godel, PRTS, carparts.com. Oh man, this is a microcap special. 56 million shares outstanding. Looks like a little value stock you got here. A little gem. This is how you get really rich. You've got to dig real deep. Can't spend 15 minutes on it. But that's why we have the Godel community. Look for little stocks like IBRX and PRTS, carparts.com. Let's take a look at the balance sheet. This one looks really interesting. Never heard of this in my life, of course. A little e-commerce company. Running around break even. Oh no, they made 50 mil last year. How'd you find this thing? Thing's down in the dumps. It's a tough space. The car part space is very brutal. But I like this. Deep value. Yeah, I'm gonna look at this one. This is a nice little find. I think that's it from the Godel suggestions. What do you guys want to? NTLA? Okay, let's update NTLA. Oh, 3001 got CTA. Wow, great. 2 years, 8 patients, completely attack-free. Pretty nice. This is a company that's curing a bunch of different diseases with CRISPR. The catch is that those diseases have other therapies that are pretty good. But this is still got to be the best therapy. It's interesting that at 32 weeks, wow, this is really interesting. This is good news, honestly. So one of the fears with CRISPR one-time shot is that the patient would rebound. So at 16 weeks, they had a 92% reduction in this molecule which causes this disease. But after a year and a half, that reduction did not drop. It was exactly the same, 95% from 92%. So that's really good. That's great. So they've just been taking their time doing the phase 3, and there's a big competitive landscape. Oh, have you guys used ChatGPT much for due diligence? It's good for asking some simple questions. So you got an oral 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗀𝗄. I didn't get a Palantir valuation, but I didn't think it was like a screaming buy. It's a 60-something billion dollar company, growing 15% a year over year, a couple billion in revenue, maybe $1 billion in cash flow this year. It's just kind of meh. It's a buy, but it's not a huge buy. So it's a pretty big market. HAE and ATT amyloidosis. So this is still kind of my top pick for biopharma. It's just kind of a slow. Biopharma can be a little slow sometimes. You don't get much of the instant gratification. But this drug's they're doing a phase 3 here.